Spendthrift Farm Stallions. First 2-year-olds on the track by Golden Sense, Cross Traffic, It's My Lucky Day, Can the Man, and Shaking It Up, including Golden Sense's stakes winner Pickett, a dominant 9-length winner in the $75,000 DS Shine Young Futurity at Evangeline. Spendthrift, the Breeder's Farm.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift Farm. I'm Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo, and as we take a look at the field for Friday's Spa Baby race, race number 5 at 6 furlongs for New York bred 2-year-old fillies, you'll note that the Spendthrift stallion Into Mischief is represented by 2 starters. The 2 She's Trouble at 3-1 on the morning line, the 5 More Mischief, the 5-2 morning line favorite trained by Chad Brown. This race kicks off the pick 6. All the fans at home have an opportunity to watch the board and get a look at these horses in the paddock, something that we don't have the value of doing right now 48 hours out.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, that's definitely a really good point and something that I always advise doing with these 2-year-old races. Not only is pre-race behavior so important for these 2-year-olds, especially the debut starters, you know, sometimes they need a race or two before they can kind of stop leaving their race in the paddock and get out to the racetrack with a more professional mindset. But also looking at these horses physically can tell you so much. You might see a long, leggy horse and think, well, maybe that one I'll watch down the line when these 2-year-olds start going longer, and one built more like a sprinter, like a precocious athlete might be one that you want to take a look at, especially as you're watching the board if they offer some value.
We'll begin down towards the inside with the number 1 Irish Banker from the first crop of the very promising stallion Central Banker. We've been impressed with Central Banker's first crop thus far. This pedigree, speed over speed. Irish Banker has been through the auction ring on 4 occasions, most recently selling for $10,000 in June after breezing a furlong in 10-2.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we've talked quite a bit about Central Banker. He stands in New York at McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, just a few minutes from Saratoga Racecourse. He bred 120 mares in his first season, which is a good number for a stallion, you know, standing outside the state of Kentucky. And, you know, that popularity has been well deserved. Central Banker already with a few winners in his first crop, has a couple of very nice runners already at Saratoga, including Bankit from one of last week's Spa Baby races. You know, and you certainly expected the speed and the precocity from his offspring. And, you know, the broodmare sire of Irish Banker, Noonmark, was another very fast horse, so definitely speed over speed.
Interesting that the first 3 workouts recorded by Irish Banker won a bullet at Saratoga over the main track, listed as trained by Jorge Abreu, now with a more low-profile trainer in John McAllen. This filly should show some speed and should be a pretty big price. The 2 is She's Trouble, one of the 2 Spendthrift sired runners by Into Mischief, a $125,000 weanling purchase. This dam was precocious. She won at 2, was a stakes place dirt sprinter. She's Trouble has been favored in both starts, including a little stakes race at Belmont Park for the New York Breds, the Lynbrook on July the 15th, but she's had problems with the gait so far.
Yeah, and you know, the first time I think she did it to herself, she hung a little bit at the break. The second time it looked like she was going to be off well, but was squeezed back at the start by a couple of other horses. Came on to be, you know, kind of a sneaky good fourth, beating just a couple of heads for second. We always talk about experience counting with these horses, and I do think that she could take another little step forward here. Into Mischief, of course, we've discussed him so good with his 2-year-old.
It appears this filly has a little bit of promise. I wouldn't want to give up on her just yet. The number 3 is Quietude, and Quietude's got a nice pedigree. Quietude's a half-sister to the Grade 1 Stakes Place Dirt Sprinter Associate, as well as the multiple Dirt Stakes winner Amberjack. She sold for a pretty penny for a Tapizar yearling, $130,000. Tapizar winning with 2-year-old first-time starters, and the second dam was a Grade 1 winner in Argentina.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice page. Tapizar starting to come alive a little bit with some of his other crops as a stallion. I think people are, you know, starting to figure these horses out a little bit. And Amberjack, who you mentioned, was a very, very nice New York bred.
This horse might be able to run a little bit because her workmate Aqua Riva was scratched at the gate earlier in the Saratoga meet for this barn. This is a low-profile barn that doesn't start a lot of horses, but Aqua Riva was taking a lot of money before being scratched, and Quietude has been working right along with Aqua Riva. The number 4 is Mary's Girl, and Mary's Girl has got some precocity in her pedigree as well. She's a half to the stakes place sprinter Bluegrass Jamboree, and the dam was a 2-year-old debut winner. This horse sold for $73,000 in May.
Yeah, and this is a sire line that produces good 2-year-olds. Shanghai Bobby, a 2-year-old champion himself, is by Harlan Holiday, like Into Mischief is. Shanghai Bobby, you would expect him to follow in the pattern of that sire line by being a good 2-year-old sire himself. And he was among the top 5 freshman sires in what I thought was a very competitive group last year. This year he's got a Group 2 winning 2-year-old at Royal Ascot, a couple of Group 1 winning Brazilian 2-year-olds from his first Southern Hemisphere crop, and I do like the way these horses are starting to run worldwide.
And some pedigree on the bottom. The dam a half to a multiple stakes winning dirt router named Swag Daddy, as well as the Grade 3 placed 2-year-old dirt router What a Tale. We'll move on to a formulator fact, however, for Mary's Girl's trainer Rick Schosberg, a very good trainer who often gives his horses some time. Over the past 5 years, 2-year-olds on dirt only won for 30 with a 65-cent ROI. Perhaps Mary's Girl will need a race. The 5 is More Mischief by Spendthrift stallion Into Mischief, and this horse figures to take a lot of money. Not only is she trained by Chad Brown, but she sold for a pretty penny. A $185,000 yearling who went all the way up to $350,000 in March, and she is a half-sister to a stakes-place dirt sprinter.
Yeah, that being Sharp Humor, and Sharp Humor I think was also Grade 1 going longer. So Chad Brown, likes to have them ready for Saratoga to kind of target some of these big stakes at the end of the Saratoga meet or into the Belmont Park fall meet. But sometimes they do need a race or two. But this is a horse that I'm definitely eyes more distant the road as well.
The number 6 is Give Me a Hug, removing blinkers for the always dangerous Todd Pletcher barn. This is a Rapoli stable homebred, a daughter of Uncle Mo, and there is a lot of class on the bottom of this pedigree. As you can see, the dam a half to 3 graded stakes winners, including Super Derby winner My Pal Charlie. She has foaled 6 winners from 8 runners. This horse didn't do much in the debut with a wide trip, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if a Pletcher second-time starter improves at Saratoga.
Oh, definitely not, especially from the string of Mike Rapoli, who loves the state of New York, especially at these big marquee meets. I love this female family. It's one of my favorite ones going right now. These horses are so tough and so consistent. And as we've discussed, Uncle Mo, obviously a very good 2-year-old sire. These horses are just athletes.
The number 7, She Will Rock, goes out for a barn that has been rocking with its 2-year-olds at this meet. This is a daughter of Will Take Charge, first crop of Will Take Charge, and is a half-sister to the multiple stakes winning turf runner Mark My Way, who is precocious enough to win it too. Perhaps more importantly for She Will Rock, the $225,000 yearling is a half-sister to a multiple stakes winning sprinter that was also a 2-year-old debut winner. This filly took a lot of money at Belmont last time out, had the misfortune to run into a runaway winner. Another one that's had some problems at the start, but I think she'll give a good account of herself on Friday.
Yeah, and I do believe that Will Take Charge's foals are ones that are going to improve with experience, with time, with distance. Of course, he was a big, later blooming horse himself. Won his first race in the fall of his 2-year-old year, ran well in stakes throughout the spring, and then really blossomed and turned the corner in the late summer and fall of his 3-year-old year. So you definitely think that these horses are going to be sort of later bloomers. I'm sure Three Chimneys Farm, which owns She Will Rock, knows that. They purchased her as a yearling to, continue to support their stallion. But we've talked about Steve Asmussen. He's on fire right now with his 2-year-olds at Saratoga, his 2-year-olds who usually improve with experience, and Ricardo Santana riding very well right now as well.
She Will Rock, not only a half to the 2 horses you see on the screen, but also to Hall Anchor, a multiple stakes winning dirt router who won twice at 2. The number 8 is 3 Birds. This is the second daughter of Central Banker in this field, a $21,000 weanling who failed to meet her reserve in 2 subsequent subsequent sales. The dam has foaled 3 winners, including a champion in Panama, and this is the family of such graded stakes winners as Ratsaluk and Chili Rooster. So there's some versatility in this family. I thought she caught a tough field at Belmont last time.
Oh, very much so. I thought she showed good improvement in that race to be third behind May Never Know, who I think is a stakes quality filly, and Abyssinian, a filly by the well-regarded Cairo Prince, who came back to win next out. I do think that's going to turn out to be a key race, and, like I said, a pretty good third.
Abyssinian came back to win against open maiden special weights by 7 lengths with a 71 Beyer speed figure. The 4th place finisher came back to win with a 57 Beyer against open maidens. And you mentioned May Never Know. She was stakes place against the boys in the Tremont with a 68 Beyer. So 3 birds improved second time out with the addition of Lasix, and might be a bit of a live long shot in our Friday Spa Baby event. Completing the field is the number 9, Mom's Kisses. And this is the first starter from Wilcox Inn, who was just a hardy turf horse. I'm not sure if we should be expecting the Wilcox Inns to be firing first out on dirt, however.
Not necessarily on dirt, but I do think they will be precocious. Wilcox Inn is a son of Harlan's Holiday, and as I mentioned, all that line does is throw good 2-year-olds. Harlan's Holiday, the sire of champion Shanghai Bobbies, is now starting to sire some good young horses. Harlan's Holiday, sire of Into Mischief, who is a Grade 1 winning 2-year-old and now a leading sire. Into Mischief's son, Golden Sense, leading this year's freshman sire class at the moment. So these horses can definitely win early. That being said, Wilcox Inn really did all of his best work on turf and on synthetic, so I do think you're going to want to watch it for surface switches for these horses later on.
This dam was a stakes winner going long on the dirt, but her best Beyer speed figure came on the turf. The dam is kin to 4 black type earners. 2 earned the black type at 2, but as Nicole mentioned, this is kind of a mostly turf synthetic pedigree, maybe one to watch down the road. Steady work tab for Rudy Rodriguez. Okay, pick time as we kick off the pick 6 on Friday with race number 5. Nicole, where are you going? So many to choose from.
There really are, and I'm going to take a little bit of a risk and look down toward inside with some of these horses. Irish Banker, who we've discussed, the pedigree is really just speed. I am starting to believe in this young sire, Central Banker, as I mentioned, crossing Central over noon mark. If this get away from the position, while she really able to control the from the out. And right next to her, you've got She's Trouble by Intimate. As I said, I think, she's problems at the, I think the first time it was her green, the second time it was bad racing luck. If she can those experiences and take another step forward here, I do believe that she's trouble for the rest of the field.
I'll take a chance. And Chad, I trust. I think more Mischief, the daughter of Into Mischief, is going to be ready to rock and roll first time out. A $350,000 2-year-old purchase. In the pick 6, I would use more Mischief, She Will Rock, and She's Trouble. The 5, 7, and 2 as A's. I'd use the 8, 3 Birds, who improved last time out in that tough race, as a B. But the 5 more Mischief, my top pick in Friday's Spa Baby Race, presented by Spendthrift Farm.